Hi everyone. I hope this video finds you well. I've been meaning to take a minute to stop, recap some of the information from the last couple months in the studio, and take a look ahead at what's coming up in the next few months. Hopefully this will help you make sure that your student or that you yourself are getting the most that you can out of lessons. As I'm getting started here, I would love for you to just also think about what you've noticed either about your lessons or your child's lessons in the last 6 months, what kind of progress you've noticed at home, any changes, and go ahead and shoot me an email with that, what you've really been loving about their lessons in the last few months, last 6 months or so. I think that's a really great, it's a really good time still at the beginning of the year to stop and think back to what's been going well. Last year, in the last 6 months, we had our studio field trip. We had a record number of people go with us. We had 80 people go. We had lots of different group classes, talking about how to play together, reviewing, memorization, getting ready for all of that fun stuff. We did our parent meeting with Goodner too, who is a really well-known, really well-respected Suzuki expert at this point. She's been all 3 points in the Suzuki triangle. She grew up as a Suzuki kid with her dad as her practice parent. She has been a practice parent for her own children, and then of course she's a Suzuki violin and early childhood educator now too. So if you've been in the studio, you've looked at the library and the waiting room, or if you got to watch those videos, you're familiar with her name, familiar with her work. If you ever need a refresher on that great class, I do have it recorded and saved in our archive. I'm happy to share it with you so you can refresh your memory. I know I've gone back and watched it already. My husband's gone back and watched it himself for our daughter. It was just such a good reminder of what the different developmental stages are for different ages. So I'm really glad we got to do that, and I hope it was helpful for you too. Looking ahead, it feels like there's a lot going on this season. I'll try to go chronologically first, and then if I need to share more details, I can. Early in February, I really want to make a point of having parent-teacher conferences so that I can individually check in with each family. So I just want to get your temperature, see how things have been going. Your email that I mentioned at the beginning of this video is going to be super helpful with that. So if there's any changes, anything from moving to a new phone number, to a new email, to mom's getting married or something like that, it's nice to have like a little heads up. And I know sometimes when we're in the thick of lessons and trying to make sure we can play as much as possible, that it's easy to forget those things. But they do impact our lesson time because they're impacting your practice time and what you can do outside of our half hour together. So do be looking for that. Plan on being at your child's lesson next week so that we can have those discussions and make sure lessons are as productive as possible. In February, it's pretty quiet. We will have a group class, already planning on doing instrument care and maybe even some body, like instrumentalist stretches and care. I just found a really great resource earlier this week that could be super helpful with that. So do try to attend our group class, but February is pretty quiet. Now March, however, is going to be very, very busy. If you are in Washington County, solo and ensemble is March 9th. The all-county orchestra concert that was canceled due to snow is March 2nd. So March 2nd, you have that. March 9th is solo and ensemble. March 9th is also our studio's field trip to go and see the Maryland Symphony. They are going to have a violin soloist again. So it's always really informative when we can go and see them physically, see what the bow movement is like, see what a conductor does and how they're not just beating out the rhythm, they are actually giving direction to and shape to the music. It's so informative, and I always find it really inspiring too. So it's nice that March 9th, they're featuring a violin solo, and then March 16th is our studio recital. The first studio recital email went out last week. If you haven't looked at it, please do so. I need to know everyone who is participating. I need to have those in by February 9th so that I have time to turn around the piano music and get it to our accompanist. I need accompanist fees by then, and I also need to know if you have a particular time that you need, either the 2:30 or the 5 o'clock recital. Please let me know as soon as possible. And anyone who is flexible, thank you so much for your flexibility. I'll use you to balance out. Not everyone, I don't expect everyone to be flexible for the whole day, but those who are, you do really help me out. So if you can do that, that would be fantastic. Just keep your eye on your inbox. Make sure you followed the Facebook event page for the studio recital too. Those will be our primary methods as usual of communication. And if you are in lessons and you're coming to your child's lessons too, that's going to really help us stay on the same pulse and stay on the same page as we're getting closer to that recital. I really want everyone to have a super polished performance at a high level and feeling as confident as possible when they're in front of everyone else and all their studio mates and in front of their friends and family who are invited. These recitals, one final thing is just they are open to the public, so you are welcome to invite any friends or family that you want that might be interested. The more the merrier, so far as I'm concerned. Aside from that, just make sure you're keeping an eye on your email and getting all the details there, because a lot of your questions will be written down in that email chain that we've already started. March, after the recital, so after solo and ensemble, or all county, I keep forgetting about that one, all county, solo and ensemble, studio field trip, studio recital, March 20th through the 23rd, I will actually be attending the Suzuki Association of the Americas and the American String Teachers Association National Conference. It's in Kentucky this year. I am so excited to go. It's going to be fantastic. I can't wait to get new ideas to bring back to the studio and see what new ideas we can try out and what might suit us better and all of that. So if there's any questions about that, obviously I won't be able to teach from Wednesday, March 20th through Saturday the 23rd. My response by email may be a little slower, but that's where I am. If you have any questions about that, just let me know. I am working with our photographer, working with a photographer to take some studio pictures at the April studio group class. For those of you who were in the studio in fall of 2021, we did some really great studio pictures and they were such nice mementos. And I even already look back on some of them and I'm like, oh, they got so big. And it was a lot of fun. And I think it's just about time to bring that back. I hope that we can do it as a group class and she'll just be able to pull individuals and take them outside and get some individual portraits for you all to keep as a memento, and then maybe even get some group pictures and things like that for us. I think it'll be really fun. We're looking at April 20th for that. Just keep your eyes on Facebook and on your email inbox as we get closer to that. I'll be firming that up probably once we're through the recital. But just a heads up, that is coming. I'm really excited about it. May is intentionally very light. There is going to be an exciting women luthier exhibit in DC. I was thinking of having a kind of informal field trip, just saying, I'm going to be there checking out the exhibit on this day. And if anyone's interested in going and seeing instruments made by female luthiers, love to have you with me. We can explore together, but May will be intentionally light because I think we all learned last year that May is very busy. So I don't want the studio or violin to be adding any undue pressure for anyone. So just something to keep in mind moving into the summer. I am looking at a few other performance opportunities. I've been talking with the Hagerstown Farmers Market. I've been talking with a couple of local retirement and nursing homes, seeing what's a possibility, what's available. And I would honestly love to hear from you about what you would like your child to participate in or what you would like to participate in. The Hagerstown Farmers Market is on Thursday afternoons and evenings. The nursing homes generally say Saturdays are really good for having visitors. So anything that you would fit better with your family schedule or have more of an interest in doing, please let me know. I am happy to schedule whatever people find interesting, but I also don't want to be scheduling things that no one's interested in. So I would love your input. That would be really helpful to me. Looking to summer too, there's definitely a ton of outside opportunities for music making. Shepherd University is going to have their usual string camp. There's the half-day camp for those who are reading music. With me, I do that camp. That's my half-day camp. It's really fun. And then if you are in Suzuki Book 3 and above, roughly, you're ready for the senior camp and you could do the full day. So my camp is if you're note reading, Suzuki Book 1, Book 2, and if you are, Suzuki Book 3 and higher, you'd be looking at the full day camp. There's also Suzuki Institutes, which are fantastic. This is my first time going to conference in March, but before then, institutes have always been my primary way of getting to know others in the Suzuki community. Suzuki Institutes are kind of a two-part training thing. So the students, your child, could go and do group classes, master classes, performance classes, mini lessons with really phenomenal guest teachers for a week. Every day they get to go and get personal feedback, new ideas. It's always refreshing to meet with someone new because, I have my ways that I word things, and they may have a new perspective and a new way to word it that makes it click for your kid. But then for teachers like myself, there's often training classes. So we can go and also meet with those teacher trainers, observe their lessons, and get training on books. And that's what I've always done for all of my registered training up to this point. And it's great. It's so fun. Those are usually best for like pre-twinklers up through, 4 and 5. Some institutes have specialties in like chamber music or fiddle music, music theory, composition, you name it. Some of them do have specialty things like that as well. The closest one is in Washington, D.C., and it's in July this year. I've also personally attended the Pennsylvania Suzuki Institute and virtually attended the Virginia Suzuki Institute. All of their faculty were great. If you have any questions, please let me know. The institute list is available on the Suzuki Association's website. I know many families, I got to see many families return to these institutes year after year, and you can combine family travel. I mean, they're everywhere. Utah, Montreal, New York City, Miami, Colorado's is really big. There's a lot in Utah. I already say Utah, but you get the idea. All over the country. Friends with the co-directors at the Japan Seattle Institute in August. So I know Chloe does a great job. I'm sure that would be a great one to attend. But it's really inspiring for kids of all ages. And then if they are older, I would highly recommend you actually talking with 2 students in the studio, Vesson or Shay. Both of them actually got to participate in a wonderful music festival last year called the Intermuse Music Festival in Emmitsburg. And both of them came back and have had the most wonderful year of lessons since they've been back from that that festival. They both have such a spark and a better vision for what music making can be. My students tend to be the better players in the county, and they think, well, I'm the best. You're the best locally. And I think getting that wider world perspective has been so amazing for Vesson and Shay. Again, I would highly recommend talking to them if you're on the fence about your student going out there, and maybe whether it's a full day camp that you drop them off in the morning and pick them up in the afternoon, or if it's a stay away camp. There's a lot of possibilities out there, and I think that's one of the most, their experience has been one of the most recent transformational experiences that I've noticed in my studio. So they'll probably be able to say more. All of this, the short version of this is just consider what summer music making might be for you or your child. It's a really awesome time to try new and different things. So there's that. I promise this is short. I'm trying to keep this short. Last couple things, just some housekeeping items. Everyone's been doing so well. Thank you so much for your consideration with illness. Online lessons, They were around before COVID for my studio, and they are great for illness. Luckily, anywhere I teach now, we have Wi-Fi. So if you are sick, if someone in the house is sick, please stay home. Just to limit the germs in the studio, for other students, for myself, for my family. There's only one of me. So if I get sick, everyone misses a lesson and everyone misses out. And so just help me stay healthy so I can stay with all of you. That would be great. And like I say, everyone's been really good about that so far, but never be afraid to ask. As we're getting closer to this recital, obviously I want to see you as much as possible, especially, but yeah, there's that. Quick request, as we're getting close to the recital too, if you haven't rehaired your bow or gotten new strings in the last year, this is a great time to do that. That should be wrapped up by the end of February if you're going to get it done before the recital. Strings take a minute to settle. New bow hair takes a minute to get enough rosin on it to be playing at its best. Please, please, please get that taken care of sooner rather than later. Some of my recommended string brands are Purastra Dominants, or Purastra Tonica's Dominant from Thomas Stick, and the D'Addario Ascentes. All of those are tend to have a really good sound. We like synthetic core strings. If you have questions about what all that means, just let me know and we can talk about it at your lesson. Parents who are coming to their lesson too, thank you so much. I'm noticing such improved communication. Obviously, email is my primary method of communicating. I am trying other ways, like this video. I know some people would prefer to listen to something. Great. But if you're attending in lessons, you will be the most informed. So please, 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 if nothing else, try to make an appearance either at the beginning or the end of the lesson, just so we can kind of touch base. It really goes a long way in helping making sure that no one's missing anything. And the very last thing, this is such a little one. If you're at the Hagerstown studio, if you could just make sure you're parking behind the house. I've had a couple issues with either my family trying to come in after work or after picking up, after school pickup, getting into our driveway. I've also had some students say too, like they haven't been able to get into the driveway, even in the school's still in session or something like that. And they don't have anywhere to park because someone's blocked it or their vehicle's too big on the side of the house. So there is plenty of room around the back. Please park in the back. We just want to make sure that everyone has a spot and can get in and is not getting frustrated. So I know that's a lot of information. Hopefully you watched this on like 2x speed or something. I will be doing parent-teacher conferences next week. So that is the first full week in February. Yes, the 4th through the 7th. This will be our chance to just take the temperature again in your family with your child. I cannot wait to hear what you are experiencing and see what is working well and maybe what we need to improve. So yes, you know what, we'll just leave it with that. And I will see you at your next lesson. Thank you so much. Bye.